Does it seem like every time you try to run from your problems, they seem to catch up to you? Every time you try to let go, it seems to catch up to you and continuously hold on to you. I know there's probably some in all of our lives where we keep running from it and it keeps chasing us. And simply for the fact that we're running is the reason it's chasing us. And that's what anything in life, when you face things face to face, then you meet it where it's at. And a great lesson I've learned within this life, I've learned it on a practical level and through knowledge, and I've also learned it through my own experience and my own consciousness. So I feel like I'm qualified to speak about this. But yeah, man, if you haven't figured it out, the only way out is within. Probably like, damn, at least I think 10 years ago at this point, or a little less than 10 years ago, I had these 4 quotes in my room above the closet. And one of the quotes says, you have to go through it to get through it. And it's a very simple quote, but it's true. A lot of times we don't want to go through something, but we want to get through it. And we live our lives running from the things that often contain the greatest seed in order for us to grow. And what really contains everything we need is us within. But due to what we've been taught, due to us continuously making this choice to act out this, as we continuously make this choice, it diverts us from what is true and what is reality. A lot of times we think externally is the main reality, but the more I learn, the more I live, I start to realize it's not about what goes on outside of me. It's about how I see that thing, because what I see is different from what you see. We know the power of perspective. If you don't, check out my last video. But yeah, man, the only way out is to go within. And that might sound a little paradoxical, but it's true. A lot of times we want to run and try to prolong facing whatever it is. I think simply for the fact that we know, sorry for the cameras, making videos outside, but we know how powerful we are, and I think we try to stay away from that because a lot of times we're so caught up in our routine and subconscious program has been to do the bare minimum or to just live a mediocre life. So when you're met with something of higher, it threatens your reality, threatens your routine. So why would you ever want to do it? So a lot of times we get stuck in constantly repeating the same cycles of seeking our answers for our problems outside of us when the problem is being created within. What I think is a problem may not be a problem to you. we got added motion effects, you know, I'm gonna just keep it going. Y'all here for the words anyway. But yeah, man, as I was saying, it's just so important to shift your focus back within. And a lot of us, like I said, nobody teaches you. There's no central teaching, no school, no parents. Most parents, nobody teaches this to their people, to the young life. So how are we able to do it and stop this cycle? So this is how we stop it and becoming aware of it first and foremost. But yeah, man, you have to face the things that you're running from. And a lot of times, great news about that, your run has been worse than facing the thing. You constantly choosing to run from it and choose a different thing is simply the hard part. The facing it isn't hard. I feel like a lot of times we have these emotions pop up and we don't like to face them. We don't like to feel the energy. We'll rather push it down and deal with it later, but it still has to be dealt with. But have you ever felt an emotion come up and you just sat with it and you just allowed yourself to feel that feeling? Majority of the time, emotion is an energy in motion. So it's energy trying to pass through. But when we hold on to that energy, it's not able to pass through. And now you become that emotion and are harboring that, and it becomes a part of you and how you act out your life. So it's important to be aware and mindful of how you feel and facing what it is you're going through at that moment, because I've done this many times. When you face it, and just sit with it, a lot of times you're like, whoa, just take a few seconds, like 5 seconds of sitting with that energy. And a lot of times it's because you resist it is the main point, and it's why it feels hard or why it feels like something bad. I feel like emotions aren't bad, whether it be mad, sad, all of those things that are considered to be bad emotions. They're not bad, they're necessary, they're a part of being a human. So you're meant to feel this way and have these feelings, but you're not meant to push them to the side and then they start to build up and you start to wonder, why do you feel such a way? Because you've been running and hiding and not facing what it is that you need to face, because you don't realize what you need to face is what will be the thing that will turn your life around. You're just running away from it, trying to stay in the same routine, in the same repetitive mindset, because it's comfortable to you. So the best way to change your life is to go within. And the book I've been reading called Outsmarting Reality, a lot of people talk about manifestation, but I really enjoy this book because it gives good clarity. And he said the definition of manifestation is not needing anything externally to feel good within. If things are going good or bad with your life circumstances, you still feel like you're in your desired reality, like you're in your dream life, because you're not dependent upon what goes on outside of you. And when you're not dependent, that's when you manifest, because you're not needing, you're being. So with that being said, it's life, man. Going within is like, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but when you go within, well, that is where your home is. That is where, it's like going, okay, imagine looking at a garden from 50 feet away and you're like, oh, I need to pull that weed out. I need to pull that weed out. But how are you going to pull the weed out if you're 50 feet away? Now, when you go within, you go into the garden and you are able to replant and do whatever, sow the seeds, do whatever it is you need to do. But the roots are within within you, right? So it's about becoming aware and becoming a friend within yourself. I feel like I can't speak for other people, but just how people manifest and act externally leads me to believe that most people are living in hell within, living in chaos within themselves. And I think I'll probably make a separate video about this, but I think heaven and hell are more so states of mind, states of being in this life, more so than things we experience in the afterlife. I'll talk about the afterlife in some other video, aside from the other video, you know, it's unlimited. But yeah, man, the only way within this life, okay, the only way out from whatever it is you're running from is just to go within and face it. And I think that's actually a liberating idea, because running gets tired. It gets tired not wanting to face certain things, and then when you finally do face it, you're like, what? That wasn't even as bad as I thought it was. You just are so caught up and worried about everything else, all these external circumstances, and you forget that you are the controller of your reality, because it's how you see reality will be how reality will be seen. But yeah, man, the only way out is within. I appreciate y'all for watching. Links in the description, new songs out, project coming soon before the end of September, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. I love y'all. We out. Unlimited.